Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Sunday. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Got a couple things to cover today. Luxxfolio, I actually found the results for their May production update, so we'll go over that. We'll go over the miners versus Bitcoin for the week, see how they did, and then we'll do the large-scale miners versus miners. Take a look at those numbers for the month of May, basically. See how everybody's stacked up against each other, whether they're undervalued or overvalued right now. And that's it. We'll call it a day. So, easy day. All right. As always, not financial advice. You guys know the drill. Invest in the following coins and companies for full disclosure so you guys are aware if I'm trying to pump something or not, which I try not to do in any of that. I'll tell you guys how it is, or at least how I see it. All right. So, here's Bitcoin right now on the weekly chart. So, right now, Bitcoin's at 21,306. It looks like we're going to have possibly a green candle on weekly. We have a couple hours left to go here. We got about 3.5 hours left to go on today to finish out the week. It looks like we'll have a green on it. We did have, obviously, last two prior weeks we were in the red, and then we had, 9 weeks or something like that, we were in the red. Prior to that, we had one green week, and then things just dived down, obviously. So in the last 2 weeks, we did fall approximately from here down to about here. We fell about 44% just within 2 weeks, which was definitely a huge drop here from the peak to the low on the bottom. So pretty good chance of maybe capitulation there in those 2 weeks. But we'll see if we've actually bottomed out or not. On the RSI, we're still looking really, really oversold here on the weekly chart. We'll have to see how this week plays out and the following week to get any more data on that. Also, the green dotted line here is our previous halving cycle all-time high, which was around 19,600, 19,700 or so. And we obviously did wick down below it, that has never happened before. But it was maybe one of those black swan events where it's one of those one-off things that just happened because there was just so much selling pressure put on Bitcoin in the last 2 weeks that we did go below it, but we did end up closing above it. So that's partially a good sign there as well. All right. On the 1 hour chart, I'm looking at the peaks and valleys here. On the valleys, we hit 42, and that was at about a price of roughly 21,180. Prior to that, we were down here on the 25th of June, which would have been just yesterday, and we hit a low on that at about 20,957. So we still have upside in price appreciation. RSI has been flat, which is good to see. We've also seen RSI come back down, but price has been increasing over that whole period. If we look back far enough back here, we were right around here on the 22nd of June. We were down on price of approximately 19,963. So we've obviously come up quite nicely here in that couple of days span here. So this is still looking good on the 1 hour chart. It's looking bullish right now. On the 4 hour chart, we have been kind of going up a little bit here in price. And the RSI has been obviously fluctuating, but overall has been pretty flat here in these bounds between 60 and 50 range. So that's also a good sign right there. Ethereum has been doing pretty much the same thing as Bitcoin. It has been going up, so it's at 1,230 right now, which is good. On the 4 hour chart, it is looking pretty good right now on the RSI. It's not looking too bad. We're not overbought right now, so we still have a little bit of room to run. 1 hour, looks like we're doing pretty well as well. Looking at the bottoms here, we have obviously increase in price as well. So nothing's going to change there, I think, going forward. I think we're still in a little bit of a bullish, short-term bullish trend at least. We'll have to see in the coming days, weeks, see how the daily and the weekly stack up. But it looks like right now we're doing okay. I like this gradual increase in price compared to these huge spikes. So I do like this a lot. So I think this is a good setup right now. We'll see, obviously, how this week plays out. All right, so that's Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's take a look at the hash rate right now. So this is the total hash rate of Bitcoin. We obviously peaked here on the 7-day average. This was peaked on June 11th at 231 million. And we have come back down a little bit here in the last couple of days. And this is the latest one from June 24th. We were at 209. We did hit a low of 199. So obviously, a lot of miners have been shutting down, it looks like, over the last couple days here. And then if we look at the raw values, we can see that we have been obviously going up much higher to 266 and a low of 162 million. So there's obviously some pressured to turn off the miners here in the last couple of days, weeks. Obviously, as Bitcoin prices come back down, a lot of the older miners are not profitable, so those are being shut down right now. So that's that. So let's take a look at Luxxfolio, and then we'll get into miners versus Bitcoin, and then miners versus miners for the large-scale ones. So Luxxfolio, I've been looking for it for their May production update for quite a while. But the only way I found it was they provided a press release where it didn't say for May production update or anything like that. It just said Luxxfolio benefits from low power costs. And here's what they had to say. So the company is pleased to announce it has mined 25.22 Bitcoin in the month of May. The company's total hash rate is currently 180 petahash, which is still the same from April. Let me zoom this in for you guys. So 180 petahash, still the same. April was 180 petahash as well. Bitcoin mined was a little bit less, 25.22 compared to 25.39. This could obviously be contributed to more miners being installed or a little bit of downtime. I'm not sure what that is. But they also, looks like they sold some Bitcoin. So at the end of May, they had 52.4. And the end of April, they had 62.6. So it looks like they sold about 10 Bitcoin or so based on this that we're seeing right now. And the other interesting part was currently our power costs equate to approximately 7,900, which is pretty good, pretty low power cost per Bitcoin, obviously. Mined, which is good. Let's see what else they provide here. I think this was it. So we'll just take a look at what I have for them, and we'll get into the miners versus Bitcoin. So that's miner comparison. Luxxfolio. So Luxxfolio has stayed. They have obviously increased in April to 180 petahash here, and they're staying the same on this one. They did mine, let me see here, 25. Oh, I gotta add that in there. 25, what was it? 25, 22. Let me include that in there right now. 25, 22. Oh, there we go. So that all works out. Let's see if we can do this as well. There we go. So a value of about 800,000 or so, it looks like, for the month of May. Based on that, I have it at 744,000, so we're pretty close to that. Let's take a look and see why we have maybe a decrease. Possibly the price. Well, the price has gone up a little bit. And in May, we still have them at 180 petahash, came up with 744, and everything is running at 31 days for May. So that all looks good. Yes, we're just a little bit off on that, so we'll have to see where the discrepancy is coming in at based on, well, it also depends on if they're calculating it on the daily or on the monthly when it comes to pricing it for the Bitcoin value. Some miners, I think, are doing it monthly at the end of the month. Whatever they mined, they're multiplying that by the end of the price of Bitcoin for that month. Some are doing it maybe weekly, some are doing it maybe monthly. It's hard to figure out which ones are doing what. So we're just going by the end of the month on May. Oop, didn't mean to do that. What else do we have here? I did not look at the institutions, so let's take a look at the institutions for Luxxfolio, see if there's anything changed here. I haven't updated that yet. So Luxxfolio is here. Institutions, there's still 614,000 shares. So that obviously has come down. I'll have to update that. And percentage owned has definitely decreased to 0.71 from 2.75. So it looks like institutions have been selling out of it, Luxxfolio, right now. And then let's take a look at the ratings, analyst ratings. Price target is 31, still have one buy rating on it, and we got 31 cents. Prior to that, we had, wow, that's a big drop there. So about a 2/3 less than where it was before. So we'll update this, and I'll get this out to you guys, to the Patreon supporters there. Other than that, right now, it looks like they're trading at about a price to earnings multiple of 1. This is based on 75% net income from gross revenue. Gross revenue, I'm at approximately 9.4 million for this quarter and the prior 3 quarters. And I think I might be using the numbers, yeah, last 3 quarters, and then May quarter. So if Bitcoin starts going back up, I could easily see them being at about maybe a 10 multiple to a 12. So basically about $1. So you're looking at a possibly 10x if Bitcoin starts going up. They could go up possibly 8 to 10x from where they are right now. on that one. What else can I show you guys? Obviously, the HODL position is 52.4. That's valued about 1.1 million right now. It's about 13.31 of their market cap percentage-wise, and each share is basically a penny compared to that. Current hash rate is 180. They are going to 363 petahash right now, so they are about 50% installed. Number of miners is 1,860, and average hash rate is about 96 terahash right now on it. 52-week high is obviously 99 cents, so that would kind of get us back up to, if we went to the 1012 PE, that would get us back to their 52-week high basically. So I would think that would be pretty fair, unless Bitcoin goes way high. I mean, if Bitcoin goes back up over 67,000, goes up to 100,000 or 250,000 like some are saying, well then we may get a lot higher price to earnings multiple here. What else do we have here? Market cap is about 8.31 million. That is basically less than their annual revenue, which is about 9.4. Yeah, so I do think that they are a little bit undervalued right now. But the reason for it might be because their future hash rate is just so low right now that I really think that they need to report something where they are going to be increasing their hash rate in the future, whether it's within the next 6 months to 12 months to 18 months. I think if they start reporting something like that, then I think the stock will also kind of go back up higher a little bit in that. So we'll have to see how Luxxfolio does in June. Obviously flat for the month of May compared to April. And at least they didn't take a big hit on the production of Bitcoin for the month. So that's at least one good sign there. All right. So that's it. Let me know what you guys thought of Luxxfolio. If any of you guys are investing in it right now, to be honest, it's kind of looking tempting to just put in $500 on this one for 10 cents and see where it goes. I'll let you know if I decide to do that. I'll let you guys know, obviously, in the video and put it in my list of things that I own. But it's looking really tempting right now. Obviously, price can always go back down a little bit more. Bitcoin could go down more. We just don't know. So always do your own research and just do your own research, I would just say. All right, let's take a look at the Miners Weekly. So Bitcoin was actually up a little bit. It was up approximately 3.71%. So I'm tracking it from Friday to Friday, like I do with the miners, obviously from one Friday to the end of the next Friday. This is how I'm tracking the miners. So I'm doing the same thing with Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin has the weekly end here on Sundays. So we're off a little bit on that. So that's not going to coincide with reports that you see someplace else. So mine is Friday to Friday. And we can see that Bitcoin was up about $760 on the week. And BitDigital, Core, and CleanSpark were down. Obviously, BitDigital was down the most. And I think they're suffering because of the issues that they're having getting those miners installed into their hosting providers. That's possibly why. So they were down 13 cents. Stock price is $1.29. So they have obviously way lower than they were. 52-week high was $20.74. So they're about 93% down from where they were from that. Core is obviously down 8.15%. 52-week low was $1.91, so not too far off from where we are right now. 85% from the 52-week high. Obviously, we're down. CleanSpark was down 4.73%, down 22 cents. It is 52-week low was $4.06, so not too far off from that where we are right now at 443. It is down 81% from the 52-week high of 2360. Hive is up 2.72% on the week. It is also not too far off from the 52-week low. The 52-week high is about 28. Obviously, Hive had a reverse split, basically 5 for 1. So that would have equated to what, about $7 or so. On the regular price, on the new price is $28, and it's down 89% from the 52-week high. Bitfarms was up 3%, 4 cents on the week. It is, let me see here, the low $1.28, so it's not too far off. Most of these guys are going to be really close to their 52-week lows and where the price is right now. I think potentially, this is key here, potentially we may have bottomed out. It all depends on where Bitcoin goes. But it looks like a lot of these have bottomed out here in the last week or so. This 52-week high was $9.36, so it's down 85% from where it was. Irish Energy was up 3.48. It is down 86% from its 52-week high. Bitcoin is obviously down up today 3.71, and it is down 69% from its 52-week high. Marathon was up almost 5%, and it is down 91% from its all-time high. Riot is up 5.16%, and it is down 89% from 52-week high. Hut 8 is up 6.29, and it is up down 89%, almost 90%. It's down a little bit more than Riot is. Argo was up 6.7%. It is down 81%, almost 82%. DMG was up 11%. It is down 85% from 52-week highs. DigiHost was up 11.82, and it is down 84%. Sphere was up 14.73, and it is down 94% from its all-time high, or the 52-week high. Stronghold was up 17%, and it is down 94%. Luxxfolio is down 89% from its all-time high, and it's up 18.28% on the week. And then Mawson obviously did the best at 18.75%, and we can see it here. It is down 90%. So if we look at how much they're off from their all-time highs, if we do that just descending, we can see that the ones that have been beaten down the most is Stronghold, Sphere 3D, Bit Digital, Marathon, Mawson, Luxxfolio, Hut 8, Riot, Hive is down 89%, Iris is down 86%. I mean, everybody's pretty much 80% or more, except for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about 70% on that. And we can see it is actually nice to see that we have quite a few miners here being in the green, especially with Bitcoin only being up. Where's Bitcoin? There it is, 3.71. So quite a few of them did a lot better than Bitcoin. And that's one of the things that I keep saying. When Bitcoin goes down, these guys go down 2x, 1.5, 2x, 3x. When Bitcoin goes up, these guys do the same thing. I mean, some of these guys obviously did a heck of a lot better than Bitcoin did here on the week. So if anybody bought in at the bottom, you're up 20% basically from when you bought. That's why I love these mining stocks. It's just they're very volatile, but you can make great money on them if you catch them at the right time. Then going on to obviously the 4-week, we'll take a look at this really quick here. And the 4-week descending, we'll just go over here really quick, take a look at it. Let's see, where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin is down basically 28.5%. So about a little bit more than half did better than Bitcoin, and then about a little bit less than half did worse than Bitcoin. The worst performer was obviously Stronghold, Luxxfolio, DMG, DigiHost, Bitfarms, Argo, and Hive. And the best performers were Mawson, CleanSpark, Marathon, Riot, and Bit Digital. And let's take a look at the 8-week really quick here as well. Do that descending. Oh, went too far. There we go. So Bitcoin is down right now 41% from 8 weeks ago. So Argo, Bit Digital, CleanSpark, and Luxxfolio did better than Bitcoin as far as losses. And then everybody down below it did worse, with Iris being at 59%, Core at 58%, Hive at 56%, Marathon at 53%, and Mawson at 52%. And you can see that everybody did worse on that. And finally, we'll take a look at 12 weeks really quick, and we'll call it a day on this. We can see Bitcoin's down 50% from 12 weeks ago, and everybody has done worse than Bitcoin from 12 weeks ago. With the worst performers, obviously, are Core Scientific, Iris, Riot, Marathon, Hive, DigiHost, Hut 8, Stronghold, DMG, Luxxfolio, and so on. Core Scientific, obviously, is one of the biggest one that we cover here. But I think there's also some fear with all the debt that they have. That's why they've possibly pulled way back here on price. So that one's starting to kind of look a little bit attractive as well, depending on how they do going forward. As long as they can cover their debt, I think they are going to be a big player in this space. They already are a big player. One of the other things I'd like to see Core obviously get rid of their hosting. That is bringing in minuscule amounts of income for them, or at least net income, compared to their self-hosting, self-mining, which does a lot better. And then obviously Marathon and Riot peaked really high, especially with Bitcoin being up to 69,000. These guys were really, really high in price. At that point, I thought they were overvalued. Now they are obviously way undervalued on it. But we'll take a look at the large miners right now, and we'll call it a day. All right, so here's the miner comparison. So we got Sphere 3D, Marathon, Core, Iris, and Riot. Sphere 3D is questionable in this, and the reason that they are questionable in this is because they are supposed to be getting the new miners, the NM440s, which were reported back earlier this year. that they're going to be buying like 60,000 of these from New Miner. They were supposed to get trial miners in for testing in June. If that doesn't happen, they can cancel the deal and get their $10 million, I think it was, back. So, and if that doesn't happen, that's going to bring them down under the 10 exahash, which will then put them into the medium miners. So we'll might be updating this at the end of June when we get some numbers from them and data on whether or not they canceled the order on it. I haven't seen anything published anywhere as far as New Miner, releasing any miners, or if they've been able to produce any of those or not. So we'll obviously get that updated when that does happen. So Sphere, like I said, is questionable in here. Their market cap is obviously right now at 45 million. Stock price about 70 cents. Marathon is at almost 800 million market cap. Stock price is $7.42. Core Scientific is 680 million. I think they should be much higher than where they are right now at $2.09. And we'll take a look at why. Iris is at 167 million. They are at $3.05 right now. And Riot is at 700 million with the stock price of $5.19. Let's take a look at the other numbers here. So here's what as you guys know, I use the 75% net income from gross revenue with a PE of 20 on these guys. I'm looking right now like Sphere 3D, and the reason Sphere 3D I have them at overvalued right now, I have them at about 16 cents right now based on what they're making. Current hash rate is obviously only 100 petahash. That is nowhere near to where these guys are right now. And future hash rate is obviously 32 exahash. I believe the reason the stock price is where it's at right now, so high, is based on future growth. If it wasn't for this, I think once we get some news, if it happens that they don't get the new miners, I think the stock price is going to fall. And I think more in line, they should be closer to the 16 if we're using 20, but I think probably even lower than that, probably closer to maybe 10, 12 cents or something like that, based on where they are right now and where they're going to be in the future. So keep that in mind, obviously. Marathon, obviously, is about, they have a lot of miners also that are supposed to be energized. They're waiting on, I believe it's the tax exemption for their electricity consumption or for Compute North, and whoever they're working with is waiting on that. They do have about 1.8, 1.9 exahash, I think, plugged in, ready to go just as soon as they power up. So they're obviously going to be growing quite a bit here in the next month or two, depending when that happens. They were hoping it was going to happen this month, but we'll see. Future hash rate is about 23 exahash right now. That's planned out. Miners are already purchased and everything else. Their shipments are coming in. So once they start getting that all figured out with the tax exemption, they should start ramping up pretty quickly on it. And they're about 16% installed from future hash rate. Obviously, Sphere is only at 0.31, and then Core is approximately 9.2 exahash right now. They're going to be about 16.7, 17 exahash or so for their self-mining. They're going to have another about 15, 17 exahash for hosting. That's why I say I'm not a big fan of hosting. I don't think it generates enough revenue for the trouble that you have to go into it. I think selling the miners and things like that, those add possibly more revenue than doing the hosting. But that's just my opinion on that. There might be other reasons for doing it that I'm not aware of. So they're about 55% operational from future hash rate right now. Iris is at 1.1 exahash. Future hash rate is about 15 exahash. So they're only about 7.76 installed right now. And then Riot is obviously going to be at 12.6, possibly higher because of the immersion cooling that they're doing. We'll have to find out how much increase that has in hash rate generated based on overclocking and everything else in the immersion cooling. But they're about 4.6 exahash right now. So they're about, that doesn't seem right, 5.5. Should be like, let's see here. We can do, will that work? Nope, we get something wrong. No, let's see here. Let's see if we can fix this. Equals this divided by this, and what do we get? 3 exahash, or 30, should be like 33%. Percentage-wise, did something wrong there. They're not 274%. Let's see if we can fix this again. This divided by that. There we go. 36% installed right now from future hash rate. And we can see, or what was I going with all of this? Oh, so I started on the PE's ratio. So Marathon right now, I think they should be at about $27 or so per share right now, based on what they are mining currently. And given that Bitcoin has obviously come down in price, I can see why they're not getting the 20 PE. They're closer to like a 7 or an 8, I think most of these guys are. So if Bitcoin starts going up, I would believe for them to be at least at 26, if not higher, depending how fast they can get these miners installed. Core Scientific it should be about $17 right now. It's way lower than where I think it should be. Same thing with Iris. I would think around $16, and Riot about $21. So that's an upside potential for Marathon about 264%. Core would be 717, Iris would be 424, and Riot at 308% increase. And the reason for that is Marathon, well, the reason Core is so much higher is because how much Bitcoin they're generating a month. They're generating over 1,000 Bitcoins a month on it. The concern is obviously with them is the debt. So same thing with Marathon. Marathon has quite a bit of debt as well. So that's another concern there. But that's why that's coming up so much higher, is because of how much they are able to generate per month in Bitcoin, and where they are going to be obviously here. And like I said, pretty much double that with their hosting as well. Iris obviously has a long ways to go. I wouldn't be surprised if they get, once Bitcoin starts going up, we could obviously see most of these guys being above 20 PE, possibly. So that would obviously give us a little bit more price and an increase on those guys. Riot obviously is at 36% installed, so that's why it's only 308%. And Marathon, like I said, I think based on what they've been mining recently, they've had some problems with the plant up in, what is that? Is it Montana? Montana or North Dakota? I can't remember which plant that they have it, that has been having issues, maintenance issues. So they've been generating less Bitcoin. I think once that reverses, that is going to increase as well as that happens. So a couple things to keep in mind here, obviously, on that. All right, number of miners here that we have for them and their average hash rate. So Sphere is about, right now, at about 100 terahash right now. Marathon is about 105. Core is at 99. Iris is at 97. And Riot is at 105 terahash. And Riot was probably going to increase that based on immersion cooling. Like I said before, we just don't know whether they're going to get a 25%, 20%, or 30% increase in hash rate based on the immersion cooling and overclocking the miners. And what else do I have here? BTC hodl position. So Sphere 3D has 37 right now Bitcoins, which is valued about 788,000. Marathon, last reported in May, at the end of May, was 9,941 Bitcoin. That's 211 million at today's Bitcoin price. And then Core obviously sold some Bitcoin. I think they sold close to like 1,500, 2,000. I can't remember exactly. It's pretty high. It's like 2,000 something that they sold in this month in June, I believe, or in May. May. They sold it in May. And then BTC value for them is 171 million. Iris doesn't hodl anything. Basically, whatever they mine, they sell, and they pay for operations and fund growth, basically. And Riot is at 6,536 Bitcoin, sorry, and that's valued at 139 million right now. So hodl to market cap is 1.74% for Sphere, 26.82% for Marathon, 25.22% for Core, 0 for Iris, obviously, and 19.8% for Riot, which leads me to believe these guys are all way, way undervalued. This is just the quarterly data that we did a while back to take a look at to see how much debt they have. Like I said, Sphere doesn't have too much debt. Total current assets, total current liabilities. This is from their end of March, so Q1 report. So obviously things could have changed since then. It's been almost 3 months. I'm sure the data has changed. But we're just looking at a snapshot in time back then, if they would have enough to cover their basically debt for short-term and long-term. Looks like Sphere 3D should not have a problem right now. Marathon right now is obviously looking a little bit concerning. They're about 172 million short. Core is about 769 million short, so that's obviously concerning there as well. And then Iris is okay with 138 million, and looks like Riot right now will be at plus 277 million. So I think they're okay as well. But obviously, Marathon and Core are a little bit of a concern with that. So I think that's why also the price of Core Scientific is down so low, is because the fear of them possibly having problems paying that off. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of that, obviously. Let me see if there's anything else here that we can take a look at. So hash rate, we have the hash rate, and then as far as, so we're also looking down here, BTC per petahash. So we want to see which one. Obviously you can see here Marathon has been having issues mining with what they have. They are at 0.0687 BTC per petahash, which is really low. Then we got Riot is at 0.1012. Then we have Core Scientific at 0.1237. Sphere is at 0.1260, and Iris is at 0.12296. So the most efficient one is Iris, followed by Sphere, then Core, Riot, and Marathon. But that could obviously change for Riot once they get the immersion cooling set up and running and increase their hash rate on some of those miners. But that's kind of what it looks like. So we're looking at how much they mined, what their end of month hash rate was, and we're getting that BTC per petahash right now. Let's see, Bitcoin production. I think we looked at all that already in a previous video or in previous videos, so we won't get into it. So like I said, all these miners are way undervalued right now, and that happens obviously with Bitcoin going down in price. These guys fall even more. However, when Bitcoin does pump, these guys pump even higher. So I'm hoping we reach the bottom. I don't know for sure. We won't know for at least a couple of weeks, months to see if we bottomed out. We could be in a rut right now between where we are now and next year sometime around this time, right before a year before the halving happens. We typically tend to go back up in price. So we could be in this kind of rut where we're just kind of bouncing between some highs, maybe 30-some thousand, coming back down to the 20s, and then we'll see. But if any good news happens or anything interesting that's positive for Bitcoin, we could see the price go up, or if something negative happens, we could see the price obviously fall back down. So always be mindful of that. Be careful out there. Invest wisely. Do your own research as always. And that's it. As always, the spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members, so thank you also to my Patreons for their support. And we'll get into the small miners in the next video, just to cover those guys as well. And what else do we have planning on? The end of the month is this week, so that'll be interesting, because then we'll have the following week, we'll have miners providing their June production updates, which is going to be really interesting to see. Things that I'm looking for is, did they sell? We know Bitfarm sold, possibly some other ones have sold as well. Want to find out who else sold as we got really low. And then we may discuss in another video why I think HODL is not the best strategy completely. I think there's a better method to it than just HODL. I think sell percentage, HODL the rest of the percentage or something like that. But maybe I'll do a video on that. We'll talk about it. So that's it. I'm rambling on here. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. That's all I ask. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.